Welcome back. This is Marc Rudov, branding advisor to CEOs. Have you read my book, Duped Again, Why Sophistry Works, which you can get at dupedagain.com? In the second paragraph of the book, in the introduction, is a quote by Abraham Lincoln about fooling people. I'm sure you've heard it many times. He uttered it during the Lincoln-Douglas debate. And he said, you can fool all of the people some of the time, and some of the people all of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Well, today's topic is you can't fool MAGA any of the time. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Epstein files and the vacillation and the circular arguments coming out of the White House about whether the Epstein files exist, they don't exist, whether we're going to see them, we're not going to see them, they're important, they're not important. This is no way to sell anything, and it's a good way to ruin credibility. If we go back to September 3rd of 2024, Donald Trump had not won the election yet, and he was on with Lex Fridman. And he said that he was inclined to release them along with the JFK and MLK files and RFK files.
Moment where you had some hesitation about Epstein, releasing some of the documents on Epstein. Why the hesitation?
I don't think I'm not involved. I never went to his island, fortunately. But a lot of people did.
Why do you think so many smart, powerful people allowed him to get so close?
He was a good salesman. He was, was a hale and hearty type of guy. He had some nice assets that he'd throw around, like islands. But a lot of big people went to that island. But fortunately, I was not one of them.
It's just very strange for a lot of people that the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Probably will be, by the way. Probably.
So if you're able to, you'll be...
Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it. Now, Kennedy's interesting because it's so many years ago. They do that for danger, too, because, endangers certain people, et cetera, et cetera. So Kennedy is very different from the Epstein thing. But yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem.
A month after Trump's inauguration, Pam Bondi was on Fox News with John Roberts. And she said this.
DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
So she has all these files on her desk, and we're going to see them. Or are we? 5 days later, she was on with Jesse Waters, and she talked about the disgusting files, breaking news. We're going to be seeing them the next day, which, of course, we didn't.
This will make you sick. 200 victims. 200. So we have over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah. What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay. Well,
along with his co-defendant.
Absolutely. And he had help. That's for sure.
He sure did.
A month later, March 20th, Alan Dershowitz was on with Sean Spicer. Dershowitz had been involved in a lawsuit because Virginia Giuffre, who had been on Epstein Island, claimed that Dershowitz was there too, and that he had abused her. Dershowitz spent 6 figures, maybe more than that, defending himself, claiming that he had never met this woman. He also said that because of discovery, he had seen the Epstein files. He had seen the names.
All right, the last thing I want to ask you about is the Epstein files. The White House put out this booklet the other day. A lot of people said it was just recycled old news. What do you, I mean, from your opinion, what else should come out? What else can come out? What else will come out? And why?
This is not an opinion. This is a fact. I have seen, remember, I was accused falsely on the Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them. And that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything. And let me tell you, a lot of them are, at least one of them is somebody who was accused. Others are accusers. And the judges have said, if somebody calls themselves a victim, we're not going to give any information about them. But they may not be victims. They may be perpetrators. So we don't have information about false accusers. And we know there have been many false accusers who have accused innocent people for money. And those records are being deliberately, willfully suppressed. And they shouldn't be suppressed. If the accusation is allowed out, so should the material that diminishes the credibility of the accuser. We want total transparency on this. Every single document, no redaction. That's what I've said from day one. I waive any of my rights of privacy. Anything there is about me, I'm happy because it will be exculpatory, because I know I haven't touched a woman other than my wife from the day I met Jeffrey Epstein. I don't even hug people, but I was falsely accused and I was able to prove it. And I was able to prove it through documents. And I want other people to be able to disprove false accusations through documents. But these documents are being suppressed and withheld.
Okay, so then this is literally the last question. Do you have confidence that when Pam Bondi says, I'm ordering the FBI to give me these documents to go through, will we ultimately see the documents and the redactions that you're referring to, or are we going to get more of the same?
I hope so. I have a lot of faith in Pam Bondi. She and I worked together closely on the first Trump impeachment. She is a wonderful, honest woman. I think she will do everything she can within the law. But judges are the ones who are preventing some of the material from coming out.
Okay, so she could want to do it. We could see like another injunction.
Yeah, it's possible. Or she could want to do it, but just feel constrained by rulings of the judge that she's not in a position to challenge. But look, I hope she releases everything. She is well-intentioned, and the American public have a right to know everything, not just partially. Let's go to the Kennedy. Do you think that everything about Kennedy is being released? I cannot tell you what I know about Kennedy that isn't being released. Kennedy had numerous affairs while he was president with people with who could provide a motive for his assassination. We know that he had affairs with people involved with the mafia. Is that stuff coming out? I haven't heard a word about Kennedy's affairs coming out. Now, we know Kennedy's grandson now is babbling about, no, none of this stuff should come out. I think there's a lot of stuff about John Kennedy that we don't know, and the FBI and the CIA had to have investigated it, because clearly one of the possible sources of motives for killing Kennedy had to be his improper sexual relationships, which were numerous and which involved very dangerous people, including people connected to Sam Giancana, the head of the mafia in Chicago. Let's see that information. I haven't seen a word about that. Maybe it's out there, but I'm not aware of it.
let's fast forward to July 7th. John Kiriakou, an ex-CIA agent, was on with Barry Levine, who had written a book about Epstein. John said that he believes the deep state probably erased the files.
Have been destroyed. We don't know if they're still being hidden. We don't know anything. It's hard to know what goes on behind closed doors. John, you're familiar with the way intelligence agencies operate. This guy, Epstein, was accused of being intel. Do you think this adds up?
No, I don't think this adds up. You've hit it on the head, and so has Barry. I think you're both exactly right on this. We really don't know anything because the FBI doesn't want us to know anything. I'm not blaming the FBI director, Kash Patel, or the deputy director, Dan Bongino. I think that that layer beneath them, that's part of what we like to call the deep state, has taken this bull by the horns, and they've probably destroyed information. Look at what the CIA did in 1975 after Congress ordered that it release all of its files related to an operation called MK Ultra. The director of the CIA went back to headquarters and ordered everything to be destroyed. And in the end, only about 20% of the documents survived. We're still learning about the FBI's operations against Martin Luther King 55 years after the fact. So now we're supposed to believe that everybody's telling the truth, that there were no files, there were no dossiers. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it because I know how these people operate.
Yeah, and Bondi and Cash and Bongino, they're great Americans. And,
yes.
But this stinks. This just reeks.
The next day, July 8th, there was a cabinet meeting, open to cameras, reporters. One of the reporters asked Pam Bondi about the files. Where are they? And Trump interrupted her with this.
Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the set?
Yeah, sure. If
Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
So now Trump is trying to sweep it under the rug, make it all go away. We don't really know why, but we're not believing it. And that's a problem. It ruins credibility. Trump's appeal, his popularity, is based on honesty, forthrightness, transparency. And that's being erased by this bullshit. We don't really believe it. You see, when Biden was president and he was falling upstairs and fumbling on stage, shaking hands with ghosts, the Democrats were saying he was as sharp as a tack, and a lot of them were believing it. We're different. We don't believe it. The midterms are next year. Credibility is on the line here. Trump has accomplished a lot in 6 months, more than most presidents ever do in 2 terms. But this is impinging his success. He thinks by going on Truth Social and defending Bondi and defending Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, it's all going to go away, but it isn't. There are rumors that Kash Patel was going to quit. Then he came out to say, no, he's not going to quit. There were rumors that Dan Bongino said that if Pam Bondi stays, I go. He has never disavowed that, as far as I know. So it's a big mess. And President Trump can't just make it go away by waving a magic wand or sweeping it under the rug. He can't. It's not the way it works. If you want to sell something, people have to believe you. And right now, a lot of MAGA is not believing Donald Trump. So my advice to you, Mr. President, if you're watching this, come clean. You and Bondi and Bongino and Patel need to stand in front of the cameras and tell us what's really happening. If the deep state did delete the files, I know it's embarrassing. Tell us. Whatever it is, tell us. If you're protecting somebody, tell us. We need to know. Otherwise, the next time something happens, it's going to be harder to believe anything we hear. This is Marc Rudov at markrudov.com. Until next time.